Hello, what up? We are the Millennial Farts.
Yo.
Here, episode 5. We are Kramer, George, Joaquin, Jesse. I think we're all good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. And we're here back
My
at you.
name's Ned, dude.
Ned Cramesicle.
Change your name.
No, it's not.
Hey, you know what? If he wants to go through that time, I'd say have it. You want the name change? You go through all the bureaucracy that is all that paperwork. Why not, right?
No, fuck that.
But with that being said, we have a lot of catching up to do. We kind of, right, usually we try to record these things Friday, Saturday-ish, sometime in the weekend, but we're here on a Monday, the 13th, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, but I think that there's been some really nice developments that have come about, and it feels good to be here recording this Monday night to this news, right? So do we want to start off with the recap, some of the stuff, maybe some films and some light entertainment?
There's been a lot of entertainment going around. Spielberg's West Side Story came out, which
So did he direct it or produce it?
he did. I think he did both.
Oh, that's fucking
And
sick.
so Stephen Sondheim, who wrote the lyrics and I think Leonard Bernstein wrote the music, but he just passed away, but he was able to see it before he passed away, and he did an interview clip talking about how much he was impressed with Spielberg's kind of revival of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's
that's
faithful
really
to the
cool.
original play, and while also being more inclusive with the cast.
Very
It's
cool.
cool.
Yeah, happy to hear that. Well, that's too bad that. And so, who was this that passed away? You said it was
Stephen Sondheim.
Stephen Sondheim.
So he did lyrics for Gypsy, all kinds of musicals. He did Sweeney Todd. Into the Woods.
That's a weird one. Yeah.
You don't like Sweeney Todd?
No. It was just
It's
it was
different.
it was a
Yeah.
different.
Yeah,
vibe.
yeah, for sure,
Yeah,
for sure.
different. Yeah.
Yeah. So also Disney released Encanto, which was the new.
Has anybody
Gonzo.
seen it here?
I have not.
I haven't. I'm always late to this stuff.
Encanto.
Me
I haven't seen it
Encanto.
either.
Yeah,
So
I
do
was-
you have to pay for it on Disney Plus?
I don't know.
Or is it
Actually,
only
I think
in theaters?
it's only in theaters. Actually, if
Oh,
if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I'm okay with that. When I'm against all forms of paying extra to get early content, on streaming services that you already paid for.
Sure.
No one else should do it. Don't settle, friends. Have more self-respect.
Dog.
No,
No,
yes,
dude, nah.
Yes, totally. Like
No,
I'll
no.
wait as long as it takes. I
I'm
waited
not
as
saying
long as
don't
it takes
do
to see
that,
Mulan.
but if
right?
you wanna pay,
there was
well, I mean,
You
if you
wanna
think
pay,
about it,
sure.
it depends. You
but
know,
but I just think
It's
it
like cheaper than
emboldens
going
them.
to the movie. It's
Sure,
cheaper than
yeah,
going
I
to
know,
the
but
movie.
it still emboldens for me this lazy money making. It's kind of like the way of how DLC has sort of changed
But
the
like,
gaming
what
industry.
if you
Microtransactions.
can't?
Oh, the
What
microtransaction.
if you
I don't
can't
like
go-
it. I don't like it.
But what if you
I'm gonna
can't
fight as
go
much
to?
as I can.
What if you can't go to the movies? Like, what if it's not healthy for you to go?
Then watch
then-
watch the wide variety of many things that are out on these streaming services
Nah.
already, and just wait. Don't please.
don't sell yourself
We
short.
we deny and delay gratification just for a moment, and the payoff is much better.
Theaters
You know,
are making a
that's-
comeback.
I don't know if it's.
Theaters are making a comeback too, and so
yeah.
But I mean, and they are pricier for sure than paying early, for the early.
I mean,
release
if
and
you
stuff, but-
if you delay gratification too much, it can be a detriment too.
It's that young inflation taking hold of every industry.
So
Yeah,
they're
definitely.
coming back with the sequel to The Matrix.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it like a new I didn't 100% know all about it, but is it like a new 3 or is it just a new 1 or?
I want to say that it's supposed to
a
be
quadrilogy, yeah.
right. It's supposed to be a combination of all of it. It's supposed to be like a reboot, but it's also like a sequel, and it's yeah.
Interesting.
I think it's just
from what I can
what would be the
gather.
purpose of that?
More-
I guess what do they just want to retell the entire? That's
It's for the new generation that might have missed
Sure.
out on the
But
original.
they don't have
movie.
Morpheus in it. Like
well,
they
hey,
didn't even call
I'm
him.
sure. I'm sure if they'd like to see it, then there's a plethora of streaming services that they could watch it free of charge.
For the Matrix.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah,
like you
maybe,
probably have to
yeah.
pay for the whatever streaming service subscription, but beyond that, probably you could just watch it.
Those Wachowski sisters got to make their money somehow.
There you go. Hey, they're
Yeah.
bringing it back.
And
Yeah.
and I was a fan of the original series. Really heady. I mean, how old were we when
Like 10.
10?
Like 8.
Man, yeah. So
98 was the first one,
I mean, it
Was
looked
it
cool. It
98?
looked cool. The action
Yeah.
scenes were dope, of course.
or 99. Sorry.
and-
99, yeah.
Wow.
It's one of those series that I would definitely like to rewatch again. I've thought about it throughout my life, and I still have never done it. And I don't lose that much sleep over it, but it would be nice.
Right.
Would be nice.
So Paul Thomas Anderson's got a new movie called Licorice Pizza that's coming out. It's kind of
Never heard. This is cool.
I've
Yeah,
heard
it's-
that it's like the best movie of the year, supposedly, or some
Yeah.
weird
See?
shit like that.
At least they're saying that
He
now.
makes
Like,
some-
usually they say that at like in January. It's like it's January.
Yeah,
we made
yeah,
the best
yeah.
movie of the year. It's the only movie of the year.
Yeah,
But it's at the end of the year. So yeah, no, it's getting
and,
good
and,
reviews.
and the movie
I like his
entertainment
movies.
industry in general is really back to, it almost seems like back to biz, back to
Yeah.
things as it was, prior.
Getting
Sure.
there.
Yeah, so
Well, yeah, and a lot of people were talking about because Paul Thomas Anderson had come out and he voiced some support for the much slagged off superhero blockbuster films, and he kind of came out and was like, okay, well, everybody's gonna go see Spider-Man on Friday, and that's gonna be reinvigorating the box office and getting
Yeah.
people back into the theaters.
real big
I like
incentive. Yeah.
I like the new Spider-Mans. I like Tom Holland. I like
Yeah, I mean, I've only watched the one.
I
and
like the
then-
guy in the chair. I don't know his
who's
name.
The guy in
actor.
the chair.
He's Asian, heavyset, bald. Actor.
Oh.
I'm
can't
bad with the
remember.
names, but yeah, he
Yeah.
was yeah.
He's in
been in
both
there
of
from
them.
the beginning.
Yeah,
right?
he's been
yeah,
there from
okay,
the beginning.
so yeah, he's cool.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah,
all of
Aunt
them.
May, saucy Aunt May, dude.
Oh.
Like, how can you not like these new
Aunt
ones?
May.
Is what
Very
I'm
good,
saying.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, yeah,
I think
come
there's
on,
take some
come on.
risks
See,
with
come
some
on.
new content.
Hear him out. Hear him out.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what's kind of interesting is to see the balancing act between, not going one way or the other, but having indie flicks kind of coexist alongside the big blockbuster films. Because when they first came out, like talking about like Spielberg in the 80s and stuff like that, everybody said that, it was going to ruin cinema. And then Spielberg was caught talking about how, Netflix movies are going to ruin cinema or whatever. And it's like, there's got to be a balance or a
Well,
coexistence.
Just evolved.
Yeah.
There
it's,
was
it's
this
okay for things to change, right?
Netflix movie that also released in theaters called I just watched it. It's called I think it's called The Power of the Dog or The Book of the Dog. Or
Yeah.
Benedict Cumberbatch is in it.
Yeah.
It's like really like
Yeah.
more like obscure, but like it's really good. Like
Yeah? Oh,
it's
yeah,
on
I saw
Netflix
a
too,
lot
but
of-
they released
lot
it
of
in
commercials.
theaters too. So they're like
Interesting.
releasing stuff in theaters.
On Netflix, there's also a documentary about the last blockbuster. It's in Oregon, and there's still like people that want to rent movies, like The Faithful.
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
of
I
course,
saw that
it
one.
serves-
Yeah, it's a
I'm
trip.
sure it
It's a
serves
good
niche-
documentary.
Yeah.
a niche clientele, and also certain nostalgia that I could see people wanting to pay for that.
Yeah,
Definitely,
in
and-
Eagle Rock, there's going to be a new kind of old theater reopening, and it's going to be taken over by Vidiots, and they're
Oh,
kinda-
Oh,
is that
yeah,
that's
the one
at
on
the
Eagle
Igor
Boulevard?
Plaza?
By,
Eagle.
Plaza? Or no, right
The
there in
Eagle.
Yosemite.
the Eagle.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like by Del Taco.
yeah.
Yeah, right across
Mhm.
the catty corner, right there.
So yeah, and they're going to be like a hybrid movie theater and like video rental store.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Should be
sounds like a
fun.
Yeah.
nice combination. The best of both of these. In some ways, even the movie theaters is the motto is not as necessary. I mean, I guess movies are never necessary, but in terms of ways to consume
Movies
it,
are necessary.
Art is
That's-
necessary.
I'm sorry. I was very like cold and like calculating, like, well, from a financial
You need
standpoint.
it.
No. All art is definitely needed, but I guess at the end of the day, in terms of a hierarchy of like if you got to pay for like rent and food,
Or
right,
art. Yeah.
versus unfortunately,
That's
and
the way it is.
And I mean, and that is another form of eating too, but
Yeah.
hard to
Art
prioritize.
Art
That's
isn't
a weird
treated the
existential
same way that
question. I
other
don't want to.
trades are.
Yeah.
It's not treated the same.
No, it's not a
Mhm.
it's not a
It's not
trade like
fair.
anything else. I mean, it can be.
It's not a
but,
fair. It's not fair. It's not fairly treated in my eyes.
Yeah,
But whatever.
But so to have a business that combines the rental and the theater, that's nice.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's another there's a documentary coming out on HBO Max about Sesame Street called Street Gang. That's going to be coming out.
Yeah, sounds hard.
Good old Sesame
Hardcore.
Street.
AF.
Well,
It's hard out here.
it is very cool, at
Hard
least
out
because they
here
talk
for
about
Sesame.
how revolutionary it was at the time that they had kind of pushed the boundaries of inclusivity on TV.
All right. Who is your favorite Sesame?
Maybe
Uh,
Big Bird's
Yeah,
Big Bird.
classic.
Big
Cookie
Bird's
Monster, I
good.
think
Cookie
was.
Monster.
Cookie
I enjoy
Monster's nice.
Animal.
Yeah, Cookie
I
Monster
enjoy
for
Animal
sure.
too. Animal's
The
dope,
Count.
the musician. in
Cookie
me enjoys.
Monster.
The Count is-
Gonzo.
was
Do you guys like
Animal.
The
Gonzo?
Count is slick.
Well, hold on. Well, that's Muppets though. There's some of the Muppets.
Yeah,
weren't
Muppets.
on-
The Count.
You mentioned the
They're-
Count. You
they're-
mentioned
No.
the Count.
Okay,
You
no.
said the Count.
You said
The
the
Count
Count. Oh,
is
no, who
on
did
it.
I say? I said Animal.
You said Animal.
Okay, who else did I
So,
say?
but
What was
there
it?
is
Oscar's pretty
overlap.
memorable.
There is
Oh,
overlap
yeah.
because Kermit was on.
Okay.
It started
Yeah.
I was
off
like,
with
who did I
Sesame
mention that was
Street,
wrong? Yeah.
and it branched out to
But Gonzo is on it, right?
Gonzo was a Muppet.
No.
I'm pretty
You're
sure.
wrong.
Oh, I'm
You're
the one
laughing
who's
at me.
wrong.
I was like, what?
Alright.
I know my Sesame Street.
Right.
Easy to confuse our puppets.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, well, they all serve a similar space, in our hearts.
Right.
So
Yeah. And the
Oscar the
they're-
Grouch.
They're memorized fondly. They're remembered.
definitely. I remember, wasn't it a thing recently where they were talking, people were mentioning how Oscar's character is sort of like creates a negative like connotation around homeless. I think people experiencing homelessness or something like that, right? Well, I don't know
Sure.
if that was a thing, but
Right.
that character is interesting, and I mean, and
You'd
all
be
these things,
grumpy
right?
if you were homeless too.
Yeah.
I would too.
Yeah, I mean, I could only imagine, geez, what challenges it would bring about. But I mean, they still, gave him a great artistic, his depth as a character was grand. He wasn't linear in any way, and so I feel like that, like it did a service to the type of person that he represented or drew inspiration from, and it's important to talk about things, try not to sugarcoat it, right? I think of like how Warner Bros, right, when they play the old episodes, like they say, hey, we're not changing anything,
Right.
and
Yeah.
there is stuff that is reflecting of the times, and
Yeah.
and,
Right.
and now we realize it's in bad taste, and not only
Right.
bad taste, but discriminatory, and
Right.
hey, but we're
Stereotypical.
showing it and
Yeah.
this and that here. I appreciate it. It's like trying to create that awareness, and also, if you start trying to put
What
too much of
for
of a hold on art like that, I guess, and for better and for worse.
Yeah.
For better and for worse.
PBS does do a good job of humanizing its characters.
Yeah. But
Dragon Ball Super?
Dragon Ball Super.
Did he say DBS? I thought he said DBS.
PBS.
PBS. Okay, sorry.
Don't get
Dragon
Balls
Ball
for
Z on
another episode.
PBS? Did they ever do that?
get
No,
too
it was
nerdy.
on Cartoon
Sorry.
Network, right?
Sorry, that was-
Toonami.
I didn't hear him.
Toonami, yeah. Toonami, dope as Toonami. Yeah, so, and then man, talking more about entertainment, a really big one was within the Mexican, and Spanish, speaking, just like music community, Vicente Fernandez, right, passed
Rest
away.
in peace.
Rip. Just yesterday on Sunday, right, the 12th.
Yep.
81 years old. Yeah.
He's the king of ranchera music. El
Yeah,
Rey.
yeah. El Rey.
That's a good
Hooray.
run.
Yeah, Viva El Rey, man.
I was pretty impressed
Yeah.
looking at some of the stuff that they were talking about. I mean, 6 decades is an amazing career.
Mhm.
50 albums and 24 films. That's pretty
Mhm.
prolific. There was a lot of like celebrations going on over at the Mariachi Plaza in Boyle
Yeah.
Heights.
All throughout
Yeah.
LA, East
Yeah.
LA, Gila.
Y volver, volver.
Wait,
You get us claimed.
Did you say ELAC?
Nila.
Nila.
Northeast
Nila.
LA.
Nila.
You can't hear from over
Yeah,
there.
I
You
hear
okay?
you.
Yeah, Cream. Yeah,
I'll speak up.
I've been going to too many concerts lately.
I did go to one.
Oh, yeah, you did? Yeah, recently?
Ringing in my
Rolling
ears.
Stones.
Oh, yeah. Nice. That was at
SoFi.
SoFi. Oh, yeah, cool, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. Dope.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you go to Coachella next year, you're not going to see Travis Scott.
Nope.
Nope. I mean, it makes sense. Although I would have also not been surprised if he didn't get. If
I
he
wouldn't
didn't
have
see
been
any
surprised if they
repercussions
didn't
like that.
do anything.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So this is, I mean, a pleasant surprise. I mean, it still sucks. I wish it never happened, but
Right.
I think fairly reasonable
It's a reasonable
consequence.
punishment,
Yeah,
right?
consequence
The
of
venue's
punishment.
trying to be accountable.
Yeah. So that's cool. I mean, yeah, he'll be all right. I mean, probably have to use a couple hundies to cry
Well,
into. and
maybe
stuff.
I'll have to sell like a Maserati.
Sell
or
one
Yeah,
of the
just maybe
Lambos.
sell Maserati to I don't know.
Make
some-
do.
Yeah, make do. Yeah, use that money on something else. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's tough, but also, yeah. Hey, that's what it means to be a nice, upstanding citizen, a contributing member of society.
Speaking of contributing members of society, Elon Musk was named Man of the Year.
for a time. Yeah, I think it's good. I know he hasn't done like as much as he can,
Right.
but
It's
he's still a young guy. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's not like he has a lot of like super experience in like world politics or world like just like world anything. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
he's kind of a little awkward too.
Well, I mean, he's like the ultimate shit poster, but like
Yeah.
on the world stage, like him. I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
I mean, it's interesting to see the stuff that that comes with it because SpaceX and Tesla have done a lot of really amazing things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're part of the future.
And
Yeah.
also, but I think that also he kind of has a history of like trying to like ingratiate and like interject himself into these entrepreneurial situations and create these networks and relationships, which good on him. But from what I've also in trying to learn more about him and what he's done and sort of like, yeah, since he is a very like prominent figure in in our culture, U.S. Western culture, whatever. I mean, even world, I guess, because he's rich enough. I guess I don't know, shit.
Right.
But like that, kind of would like try to like I think with Bitcoin, for example, right? That he tried to find a way to like get involved with the devs, but I can't really do that because like we don't even know if it's a person, right? With
No, it
Bitcoin,
wouldn't. But the thing about it is like
Blockchain.
it kind of like promotes FUD in that area, but like people don't really pay attention to him unless they know he's like just really trolling.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, but I mean, to have that much, power, I mean, it's just.
Well, it doesn't.
I feel like
he
if
doesn't
I
have
were
the power
if I were in that
anymore.
position, but if
Yeah.
I were in the position that he has in terms of his outreach, at the very least, that I would be mindful of like the different implications of what he says.
Sure.
I mean,
Just to-
sure.
and you can't make everyone happy, of course, but
Yeah, you
like at least
can't.
try to be strategic about your wording as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, but
Um,
like, so Bitcoin got slighted by what he said, but his company also made a lot of money by what he said. So doesn't he have something to stand by saying stuff like that?
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
exactly.
and that's
So-
that's kind of where I get this, like the duality
Yeah.
of Elon.
Yeah.
Like where there's
Mhm.
this great
Same thing
part
with
of
Google,
him
right?
and,
Maybe
Yeah.
a similar
you
thing
know,
with Google, his relationship with it.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just there's two sides. It's good and bad. I mean, the good.
Well, he's
comes
no
with the
Bill
bad,
Gates, but I mean,
even with that, like
Bill
so-
Gates has bad stuff too, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
so-
but Bill Gates did say, if you can solve world hunger, I'll donate $6 billion to the cause. No other
Right.
billionaire said something like that
Right.
before. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Well, that was Elon, wasn't it?
No, that was Bill Gates.
Well,
Yeah.
Elon did too, didn't
Oh, he did.
was-
He said,
yeah.
"All."
Yeah,
I
he
didn't know
told
that.
the World
Yeah.
World Health Organization or something like, I'll donate if
I
you.
remember
can
he
prove to
said
me
something like
it'll
that,
do it."
and
So
I
that's
s-
where it's just like stuff like that. It's like
yeah,
don't be
no,
a
of course,
dick,
it's
you know?
very
Rule number one: don't be a fucking dick. Come on.
very theatrical for sure. Apparently, I thinking of that tweet that he posted. I think that I saw like a thing where someone's like, "Look, someone explained how to do it," and then like he didn't respond or something like that. I wish I remembered more about it, but
Wait, how to do what?
how to like solve world hunger, like they did in like a
yeah.
like a Twitter thread, like a threaded response, like multiple messages, all that one. That's cool that you could do that now on Twitter. I've noticed that, but anyways, yeah, duality for sure.
Nothing's
yeah.
black and white.
Yeah, and Time has a very noteworthy history in terms of who they've elected as their person of the year, right? Or pretty
Yeah.
much. So.
Well, I mean, and
Totally.
it's not always about, if this person's good or bad. I mean, I think Hitler and Stalin at one point were person of the year too. It's
Mhm.
person of the year now, by the way. It's not
Person
man of the year. It's
Yeah,
Yeah.
person of the year.
Okay, person of the year.
time.
That's
God's
important.
Cool.
time.
I
I thought they did one
Yeah.
of each. That's why I didn't know
Right.
that. I didn't know that.
I don't know.
Shouldn't they do that? I mean, like.
Well, I like person. I mean, it makes it way more competitive to win it.
That's true.
Yeah.
But
then
at least
how many times
everyone
has
gets
it
a
been
chance to
woman?
compete.
It does away with the
Yeah.
construct of
Mm.
gender.
Yeah.
Like,
But I guess ultimately our society is still sort of like
Yeah,
facing the I
that's
don't know
true.
repercussions are just the we still face the reality of these inequities in like representation, right, in these different fields.
Humans
So-
just have a need to classify. and
yeah,
it's
I mean,
not
yeah,
ideal.
Yeah, at the end of the day, people are starting to make more and more like moral stances on it. It's not about what's the I don't know best or worst. I mean, I guess in a personal meaning, but yeah, hey, I just showed up, so I'm trying to keep up with it all, and
That's
just
all
be,
any of us can
be
do.
present. Yeah, be present to as much as possible, and being informed, and hey, if I gotta learn shit along the way, then that's actually something I've been really trying to work on, being at peace with like, being okay with still needing to grow, and hey, we're all doing good things, friend. You are doing good stuff right now, and if you want to do more, that's great too. And
Right.
it's all one day at a time. Right?
Everything always changes.
Yeah.
People looking out for people. So I mean, I was pretty intrigued by the footage that was coming across of the tornadoes that touched down.
Intense.
in-
oh yeah.
It's tragic.
The governor of Kentucky, Andy Bashir, was on Meet the Press, and he did a couple of things, and he was talking about how the communities have really stepped up in joining hand in hand to try and get people to shelter, because there's supposed to be like ice storms and stuff like that. It's supposed to get really
Man.
cold
Oof.
Damn.
now that there's no shelter, so they got like warming stations and stuff set
Man.
up, and it's devastating. And they had like supposedly like 40 plus tornadoes they counted,
And
9 different states.
and
Shit.
that this tornado, the one that hit Kentucky, originated from way far away, right?
Arkansas. Supposedly it
Over
traveled
200
like
miles.
like 220
200
something
miles?
miles on the
I mean,
ground. in
Imagine how
Kentucky.
much things it killed on the way.
It's nuts.
everything.
I mean,
Killed,
they have
destroyed.
the drone footage on YouTube, and different news stations have been showing it. It's wild.
Man, I mean,
Climate
yeah,
change.
yeah, yeah. There's
Mm.
just evidence of climate change because I think that speaks of like the conditions within the air, right?
Right.
And the changes in humidity and
Increased volatility.
yeah, 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 and weather fluctuations. I mean, this is definitely we're seeing this all happen. As as expedited in what would normally happen like naturally. I know people always say, oh well, Earth goes through these natural cycles of warming and cooling. Yeah, but
Right.
they're over greater periods of time and way
Right.
way like more subtle.
Right. And
I
the
mean,
swings are
not,
getting
not,
worse.
not yeah.
I
in
don't
the-
know. In
in
my
the-
opinion, we're past the
Yeah,
point of
too.
no return. Like I feel like
There's
it's
gonna be
been
damage.
past.
Yeah, damage.
I
is
mean,
likely
doesn't mean
done.
we shouldn't change, but I feel like
Right.
there's gonna be some. We've been like so negligent this whole time. There's like no way we can't like
Yeah,
have
yeah.
some repercussion.
Right.
Most of
You
our
know?
cities are around sea level, and sea levels are going to rise in the next 20, 30 years.
But I mean,
Yeah.
what this also goes to show is that people on the coasts aren't going to be the only people affected. So
Right.
that's
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
also intriguing to note. And Biden came out that same day and
Well, it's like
and
if you're in
spoke about-
Alaska, are you rooting for global warming? Because
Right,
then,
yeah, right. You
Just
don't want to
kidding.
be selling ice cubes.
Yeah.
But yeah, Biden came out and he talked immediately about climate change and also was on the phone with Kentucky's governor like I think 3 times during the course of the day. Signed off on the declaration of emergency, and I think he signed an executive order to speed up the process of issuing
Nice, nice.
uh, direct relief
You-
for this kind of thing.
so like
You know who
Alright,
I'm
go
sure
ahead.
has no issue about that, is very happy about it, and is not voting against it, is
Mitch
Rand,
McConnell.
Rand Paul, too,
Rand
right?
fucking Paul. Well, at
Yeah.
least Mitch McConnell can't, and he came out and he thanked Biden for being as
Yeah.
quick as he was.
He's,
for the
yeah, he's sneaky.
administration,
That's
but
man. He's real life Darth
Rand's
Sidious,
is a
man.
dick.
Real life
Rand
Darth
is a total
Sidious, man.
dick, and I mean, he's like literally, I think he was the deciding vote against relief aid for Louisiana the last time around.
Hurricane Maria, was it? right?
Yeah, and I mean, it's like you got to be kidding me, dude. And now to turn around and be the libertarian who's always balking about spending other people's money until it comes to the time that you need it. It's like that's what it's there for. Right? And I know libertarians don't get that, but that's what the government's there for, to help you in your time of
Yeah,
need
but,
and
but
to
they,
keep you
they
safe.
literally are only happy libertarians when it's them. If it's helping them out, then that's part of their bootstraps.
I don't know if they all believe that. I mean,
No.
maybe the
I mean,
Like,
if they
yeah.
received it, I mean,
Well,
would
I mean,
they,
in
would-
Kentucky,
would
it's a
they
very
seek it?
red state.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, of course.
I would say they're more like.
I just
exactly
thought
red.
I was just speaking to libertarian because Jesse brought it
Oh,
up.
yeah.
And I always kind of like cracking little
Right.
digs at him.
So Biden's going to be there the 15th. I think he's going to go down. He offered to come down. He told him just let me know when it's not going to be in the way to come down. And I'll come and visit. So hopefully that
Yeah.
cleanup effort gets on the roll. It's already looks like it is, but
It's a lot of destruction.
yeah,
A lot of destruction and yeah, like you said, Kramer, I agree, man. I just feel like we are at a point of no return. I mean, seeing what it really manifests ultimately. I mean, I don't know, and
Yeah,
I
but I don't
mean,
want to see.
I
the
don't want to
full
see it, but
extent.
man,
Yeah.
and the crappy thing is like, remember when the Paris climate agreement, right,
Mhm.
took place, and that
Climate
was
Accords?
climate accord.
Paris
Thank
Accords?
you, thank you. It really, was such a pivotal point in terms of like the global response and unification around this issue, and I guess just since then, right, there's been
Right.
increasingly like usually right leaning politics coming through, and it's
Right.
a
Well, that
it's
4
a hoax
years
from
of Trump did not help.
Definitely.
Kind of set us
they
backwards.
went back on a lot of
Ignoring facts.
regulations. Yeah.
My whole
really
thing
hooked up
is with
corporations.
that. With it's like, can't they get better people? Like, you can't tell me there's not better people who believe what they believe or believe similar something to that. You
Right.
know what I mean? How do they? Well, I just don't understand how that side settles so much on their people.
It's this is why, it's because they
yeah.
make a lot of money doing it.
Yeah,
and,
okay,
and
that's
and,
true.
and actually leads to what I was being interested in leading up to our recording of this was there's a report that was released, I believe, by Business Insider, and I actually am kind of a fan of Business Insider. They're I think kind of considered center left sort of reporting, but from my experience, and I do my best to be objective, like I feel like they're very factual, and as much as possible, just presenting very factual, like neutrally
They're moderate.
connotative language. You know, I mean, sure, they do tell a story, a cohesive story, but for me, very, very like evidence, driven and whatnot. But yeah, did a big study, kind of finding that at the moment there's like over like 182 high-ranking congressional staffers, so like senior advisors, this and that, right? That are violating the Stocks Act. The Stocks Act is a act enacted in 2012 by good old Obama. Thanks, Obama. So what STOCK stands for, it is Stop. I have it down here somewhere. Thank you. Stop Trading on Congressional Knowledge Act. So really, is trying to just minimize insider trading.
So like what Pelosi does with her husband.
So this is the thing. Is, I'm usually very much against the whole like, oh, both sides are bad. They're all, all politicians are corrupt, this and that. Because for me, it's intellectually lazy.
Yes. I agree with that. But obviously, there's a side that does it more.
And so, interestingly enough, this is a realm of this narrative, or this thing that where it's kind of equal on both sides.
Oh wow.
Pretty much straight down party lines even.
It's 28 Republicans to 20 Democrats, I think.
Yeah. I mean,
it's pretty close.
And so, yeah, I think so. Over 182 of these are the high-ranking congressional staffers, and then I think I got that around 48 congressmen and women.
Right. That was what I was talking about. It was the actual Congress people.
Yeah. So, and yeah,
they deserve jail like Martha Stewart.
Well, this and this is part of the problem is that it's pretty much like when they're in violating the timeline. So I guess what it does is there's like whenever anyone that's, I think it's making a certain amount or has a certain position from there and above, if you get involved with trading of any sort in of $1,000 or more, you have to report it. And you have like 30 days to do it, and and then even if you don't do it in those 30 days, that's something that takes even more than those 30 days for it would be like House and Senate ethics committees sort of figure out that, hey, you're in violation of it. And all it is a $200 fine for the first time you send.
Wow, that's it?
For all these, yeah,
300,000.
It's usually waived too.
And it's usually waived, but that's the funny thing is that the way they sort of keep records of how these violations were settled, whether fees were paid or the payment was waived, and what were those reasons, because it only should be for like extraordinary circumstances. It's like it's hard, there's very little documentation of all of that, and so it's just a hard thing to just keep track of, because it's like very loosely enforced. Pretty much their own people sort of.
We do know the rich are getting richer.
Yeah, and sure. For the thing, I'm sure this idea's been around for a long time, but I remember reading it in like a video game chat. It was like a Game Boy like advanced game chat or something, and it was like, if the punishment of a crime is a fee, then it's really only for the poor. It's only a punishment for the poor. So.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. That these people are getting away with it, and so supposedly, okay, it happens again, maybe a $400 fine. Supposedly, tens of thousands in fines, but that's never happened.
Also offers the question though, is like, what's the definition of the insider trading in this dimension, and what, because it's always varying degrees. I was like reading like, oh, Dianne Feinstein, is one of them, obviously, of course.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I was looking into it, and then she was like, it was investment in like a polling firm or something.
Yeah,
so
she's definitely not the worst.
While some of them are
she's
like
investing
in pharmaceutical companies and using that knowledge, so it's like I'm curious to know more about like, the
and
nuances.
And that leads me back to what you're saying, like why can't we elect better people in general? And it's like, well, these people, they fight tooth and nail to play a good farce and like, but really to just be beholden to the people that are aiding their campaigns and stuff, and yeah, these are usually corporations. I mean, kind of reading onto this trend of like corruption, that I think that I was reading that around 75 different lawmakers bought, sold COVID related traded with COVID-related investments.
A lot of money being made in the pandemic.
That's
for sure.
Yep. And so it's just, man, it's just evil. And actually, I think I was reading a thing on again how this happens on both sides. 22 Democrats or so were found to like be have backing from fossil fuel companies, and so it's an unfortunate thing. Man, politics are really corrupt.
Yeah, so money.
But
They're
then you
corrupt
gotta go.
everywhere.
Okay, so
The-
where do
yes
where
and
do you
no.
draw the line in terms of, do you tell people who work for a company they can't invest in that company because they might have insider knowledge? So
Yeah.
it's like it's weird because then the playing field is totally different for politicians than it is for actual CEOs and corporations
Sure,
that
sure.
definitely make a lot more money, especially off of stupid people than politicians could
Yeah,
ever
yeah,
good
dream
point.
of.
yeah.
So there's there's this feedback loop of just, okay, well, something's got to happen, and maybe like we could be a little bit more ethical overall and not be so money driven, but
That
in
and
a way that allows for people to invest smartly, but like
yeah.
you can go, hey, this is a very obvious conflict of interest.
Yeah.
You can't be doing this.
I mean, and also,
Versus, well, you're far enough removed from the situation to go, okay, well, we're not gonna, penalize you because you.
Unfortunately, greed is universal.
Yeah, right.
it
This
is
is true.
universal, but I think that's an important thing to I think point out is what you're talking about with the degree of removal from. For me, what I thought, what I got from what you were saying is depending on like the job you have, your line of work, your involvement within society, like what are the repercussions and implications of you acting, let's say, on that greed. And for
Right.
me, it's like, well, these guys are supposed to be public servants. I mean,
Sure,
really
right.
elected by the people, for the people, by the people, for the people. And with things like Citizens United and shit, it's hard to
For
do that.
sure.
It's hard to do that. And in those regards, there is one in the political spectrum that has definitely been more evil in that regard of like, everything from changing the laws of like rights of a corporation versus citizen to like redistricting lines, right, for voting,
Oh
and
yeah.
and trying to create these false narratives of like voter ID, this and that, right? It's
Right.
there's
Texas
one.
is getting sued big time for their redistricting, basically to include as many white people in their
Mhm.
voting rolls as they can, even though the population is mostly increased through Hispanic people.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a
they're
lot of
like
Hispanic
literally
people
the
in Texas.
worst state for redistricting.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it benefits them. It behooves them. I mean, man, you know, the GOP wants to be winning Texas as it has for a long time.
Right. Well, yeah, and I mean, and then speaking of the politicization
Mm,
of
Ooh.
Tejas,
That's
Supreme Court
enunciation.
yeah,
let the Texas law stand on abortion.
yeah.
Yeah, but they jump in to like uphold the I mean, I'm not saying it's bad that they uphold the vax law, but like
They did. We
yeah.
got it's bipolar Supreme Court.
Yeah,
everybody.
it's just weird
Yeah,
that they would
so,
go
like, yeah,
one way.
it's-
It feels
yeah,
inconsistent.
it does feel like, well, we're gonna please you guys and you too. Like it's like, but no,
Yeah.
like do what's right for both.
politics at its finest.
But
Right.
so interesting then to see now that Gavin Newsom, right, is trying to introduce a similar law that Texas has implemented for the abortion, the change in their abortion laws, right?
Mm.
How he's trying to apply it to pretty much tattletaling on gun manufacturers, vendors that are selling ghost guns
Yeah,
or assault rifles, right?
Yep,
Assault
both.
weapons, assault weapons.
Both.
Yeah, what's wrong
assault
with
weapons and
that?
ghost guns.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
I mean,
exactly. I
and
mean, it
that's
shouldn't be
kind of-
happening already.
It's interesting because I'm not sure if Gavin's really like trying to do that as a way to like, oh, this is a law that's going to be passed and this should be implemented. I think he's just calling the Supreme Court's bluff and saying, well, if you're going to apply the law this way, in this case, then obviously it's got to have to work this way.
Yeah, you think it's a bluff?
Well, in a way that it's calling them to say, okay, well, are
Yeah.
you going to do the same thing with gun laws
Yeah.
that you just did with abortion
It
laws?
opens
see
up a
that.
whole can
That's
of
a good
worms
point.
for states versus federal government.
Precisely. So I mean, it makes it all the more imperative to get out and vote. I mean, it's crazy to see that this is the level that they're going to, and
And
it's the
again,
cynical
Hillary was
politics
right,
again.
like you said. Hillary was right.
And it's going to affect generations coming down the line. And
Yep.
I mean, it's kind of weird because the cultural issue that is abortion was never what it was before. I kind of read up on this. They were talking about Jimmy Carter and how he was, a Southern Baptist, and he was one of the first presidents to mobilize the evangelical vote. And because he was very liberal, he started to lose that. And Jerry Falwell and people like that looked at the issues and they're like, well, abortion is one of these hot button issues.
Yeah.
And they used it to mobilize. They formed the moral majority and they threw their weight behind Reagan in 1980 and he
Right.
won. And
The rest is history.
This guy that
Right.
you mentioned, creating the narrative around it. What was the name of this guy?
well, Jerry Falwell was like a televangelist preacher kind of
televangelist,
guy. Paul Wyrick was another guy who was a writer and like a pollster and kind of noticed this trend of
Probably where like all these think tanks came from too, right?
precisely,
And these guys,
yeah.
like the
It's
Heritage
origin of that whole
Foundation,
thing
man,
is
and
the
they're
use
just
right
like,
there.
and these guys, and so interesting thing that I have some cousins who are studying law and this and that, and they mentioned that when you think of like the role of congressmen, it's like they're the one like at the very least presenting legislature and seeing if it'll get passed this and that, but they don't really create it. They get it's these lobbying and special interest groups that are like, hey, we this is what we think, and would you sponsor
They're
it?
coming up with the ideas.
Coming up with the idea. So it's
framework.
Yeah. So these things are really influential in our civil society and the codification of just like the judicial atmosphere and layout,
Yeah.
right? The landscape
Yeah.
of our country. So, yeah.
Bad vibes.
Bad vibes all
Down. I'm down. We're down bad. We're down bad.
Right. Well, okay. And in that mode of thinking, you got Russia is on the
More down bad.
yeah, right. Is
More down, more
is
bad.
really testing the world's collective will to maintain peace because he's pulling the same shit that he's always pulling, and he's supposedly, I think it's like 125,000 troops or some shit that they're
Dear
supposed to have down there on the border of Ukraine.
Maybe we should have stayed in Afghanistan.
Right. So I mean, and this is the whole thing: is the geopolitics of all of it. Considering that Ukraine is literally smack dab in the middle of Russia and the rest of Europe. So they're kind of being pushed and pulled in all these different directions. And I think the U.S. is taking too much of the responsibility, and Europe's not holding up its end. And in
Totally.
terms of like, especially with the chest beating, because it's like the U.S. can't be the only ones going, "Hey, try and mess with us." And
Exactly.
Yeah,
everybody's
doesn't, like,
off in la la
why
land.
doesn't like England like step up, or someone with like a good standing art something?
Right.
I don't know.
Maybe they're not as good standing as they want us to believe.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and there's a lot of energy, stuff that's going on there too. Oil pipelines and
And
natural gas.
and a lot of tribalism throughout the world. I think more than before, probably. And
Oddly
Yeah.
enough.
maybe like doing nothing is. I mean, it's always been like the Switzerland thing.
Maybe
It's
they can
kind
wait
of
the
joke,
bailout. Yeah, but Switzerland doesn't. I mean,
No,
I
but
don't
like back
necessarily-
in like for
Yeah.
World War II, right?
Right.
Yeah. Like, that's kind of it. So maybe
Right.
that. I mean, maybe people are like countries are just like these world leaders are just like we'll just do nothing and hopefully we could get away with it. Pretty much.
It worked for a while, and this is what we get to see now is world leaders thinking that they run the place. You
Yep.
know,
Yeah.
because there was an absence on the world stage for a long time of our leadership, and we had Boris Johnson in the UK. It's just like these fucking Goombas dealing with real.
Hey, I like
Trump.
Goombas. Goombas are nice and
It's an
Yeah.
insult
and easy
to
and
Goombas.
easy to stomp on. Okay, they bring a lot.
You don't know
of joy
about
to people.
Goombas.
They bring yeah, I did.
You
They
like
bring
to
a
eat
lot
them?
of joy to.
Yoshi eats them.
Yes. Yoshi eats a lot of Yoshi eats everything. So yeah, I am definitely
So you know
Yoshi's
the
my spirit
the
animal.
origin of the phrase is Italian. It's for a goofball or a
Yeah, oh,
dumbass,
cool. I actually didn't know that.
a
Jeez.
dum dum.
Hmm.
He's a Goomba.
Yeah.
Something new every day.
It's a
There you
Goomba.
go.
It's a Goomba.
Can't believe
Your
this
Italian
guy.
slang
Goomba.
lesson.
Yeah.
So we had the first Omicron death officially
Mm.
In England.
in England.
It was in London, I think.
Oh my
London?
goodness.
Yeah.
That I guess I think the data is saying that it's like twice as contagious as perhaps even Delta, was it, or just the original strain? But
Then Delta.
then Delta,
Delta.
which Delta was even more transmissible than
Right.
the original.
Its contagion level is on par with the cold.
Man, crazy. But not as many hospitalizations and
Yes.
deaths.
Yes,
I mean,
for
obviously
both.
the first death, so but not as many
That's
hospitalizations.
a
so
lower
it's-
rate of hospitalization.
Yeah, man.
Less
Yeah.
severe illness.
This is the new reality, and this has happened before. Perhaps for many of us, not to this degree and with as much visibility as that anyone can remember, right, in recent memory. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense, and it sucks.
I think one thing that people liked about the pandemic was less traffic and being able to
Yeah.
drive
That ain't a
on
thing
open
anymore.
roads.
Yeah,
But yeah,
no.
now that people are going back to work and everything's opening back up, people are still driving kind of recklessly, even when there's a lot of cars on the road. And
Yeah.
road rage is on the rise in the U.S.
All throughout, huh? That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I'll admit, sometimes I get mad on the road myself, but I never try to
Everybody.
take it out on other people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, being aggressive or
that's good.
distracted
That's good.
just hurts everybody.
Yeah, no, definitely. You know, it's like acting on emotion with something as delicate as a vehicle. Yeah, no, for sure, it makes sense.
It's painful.
You know,
and-
I'm not gonna lie. I used to rage. I feel like I used to rage like in general. Like I would get mad, like let's say playing games or whatever. Just get
Same.
mad at myself or driving. And recently, I've been trying to really find like an inner peace that like kind of like I was saying earlier, like being okay with where you are in the present. Yeah, things can be better later and
Just
in
gotta
whatever way.
breathe.
You know, hey, yes, you'll get out of the traffic eventually. Just
Right.
hang in there. Yes, it sucks now. Be
if
mad.
this guy fucking moves
Yes,
his
sir.
car, I'll get out of traffic. God
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
damn
yeah,
it.
yeah. I still isn't there like a isn't there like
ask
a whole
ask my girlfriend. She'll tell you I'm terrible. But I mean, I'm just it's commentary. You know, it's like I'm
Yeah.
running the Jerry Springer show in my car.
That's
and
my
it's like,
dad
you
on the
can't
fuck.
drive. Get the hell
That
out of here.
is
Get
my
out of
dad.
way.
That's my
But other than
dad.
that, I don't take
Yeah,
my
yeah.
road
He does that too.
rage, and amplify it. I mean, my
According-
road rage is limited to just talking shit about everybody's driving because I'm fed up with sitting in it.
According to the Zebra, 82% of people in the U.S. admitted to having some level of road rage.
Wow, that zebra talks really well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and in the
What does
last
the
5
cheetah
years,
say?
there's
Yeah.
been true. In the last 5 years, there's been over 12,000 injuries and
God.
218 murders attributed to road rage.
Man.
Jeez Louise. Yeah, and then you
It's
have people
rampant.
like pulling out their guns and like, oh yeah, you want to go? Like,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
just want you to use your blinker, man. That's all you
Also,
gotta do.
annoying. Also annoying is well, you don't see people banning cars. You know,
Right.
oh, this many deaths per year with cars. You don't
Right.
see people banning them.
Cars are
Yeah.
pretty regulated.
Yeah,
They're highly
very well.
regulated.
Way more regulated than
And people
firearms.
still can't use the
Yeah.
fucking things. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
you got to
yeah.
pass all this stuff, and you still go like, how the hell did you get your license? Like,
I'm for
honestly.
self-driving cars at this point with all these bad drivers,
Right.
dude. I'm not that everybody has to use it, but
Right.
like,
Well, they're getting in trouble actually.
Yeah.
That Tesla's been doing their
well,
testing
it's
on
not
the
at the
road.
right level,
Mm.
right?
No, but they've been doing their testing on the roads,
Well,
and
that's
they've been
not
kind of
right.
abusing
Ooh,
the rules. Yeah, they're getting the
Yeah.
DMV is getting shit
Elon.
from the public for
Yeah.
like allowing
dope,
it.
Elon. Oh yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thanks,
Um,
Elon.
But yeah, it's kind of interesting to note, you know, because it's going to be getting wet for freaking once. And you got to learn how to drive regularly.
Yeah.
You got to learn how to drive in the wet
Mhm,
rain
mhm,
and
mhm.
in
Like
the,
you're
you know,
Caution.
like it's in the way in the wet is almost the same as in the
wing?
dry. In the wing?
in the wing,
In the wing?
getting wet in the wing.
Yeah.
So use your headlights because that's the law.
Yeah, you can't have it be a personal belief of yours not to use them, and it's everyone else's problem if they can't see you.
Wear your seatbelt too.
Yeah,
Right.
and wear your seatbelt too.
Right.
Oh yeah, man, I always love all the car driving, connections to COVID. Like, hey, turning off my lights is my right. If you have a problem, that's on you.
Right.
Oh, me getting the vaccine, right, is
Right.
is a you thing.
Gotta
If
think
you're
of the
bummed about,
community.
yeah, for the good of community, or hey, or also like, why get the shot if you can still get it? Why wear a seatbelt if you can still
Right.
die? It's like,
Right. Just because
Oh,
my
yeah.
seatbelt keeps me from turning into a lethal projectile doesn't mean I should wear it.
yeah. But I mean, I get it. It's a more like abstract thing because we see sort of like the repercussions of doing or not doing those
Right.
things, right?
Right.
And also it is heady shit to learn about, about like mRNA, vaccine technology and yeah, 30 years in the making though, pretty much about since as long as we've been alive.
There you go.
Yeah. Side note and little rant,
Side note, footnotes.
footnotes. But yeah, so we got to be careful. It's been getting a little bit colder out here, right? So, and man, LA drivers, I just any sign of something that's not sunny, they start losing their cool, man. They're
Oh,
just
yeah.
like, I got to speed up and get out of this, or like I'm gonna drive at really slow, or they just are so not used to it that they don't treat it as anything different.
Sure. Well,
And-
time
and-
change
yeah.
doesn't help either. Like I mean, it's getting darker sooner. And
Yeah,
Exactly.
gets dark
Darker
by
in the
5
morning.
now.
Gotta adapt.
yeah.
Yeah. But it's been nice because now I get to see the lights I put up for Christmas. I get to see
Oh
'em.
yes.
Or for
How
early
festive.
in the day.
For Chris
I'm a
Mahana
sucker.
Kwanzaa.
You sucker.
I'm a sucker. Hey, but you know what? The enjoyment of lights during this time of year is a very universal theme in a lot of different holidays that are celebrated at this time, right? Think of
Yeah.
Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa too. It's
Yeah,
7 lights.
Diwali.
Diwali. Yeah, yeah,
New
yeah.
Year.
New Year. Yeah.
Mhm.
So hey, the lights are cool and they're all inclusive. Um,
Trying to remember the name. Is it Candy Cane Lane or something like that? It's been a mainstay in El Segundo. It's just the
ooh, yeah.
street.
Oh,
They
They
didn't have
didn't
it
do it
last year.
last year,
Yeah.
but they're doing it this year, and they were just showing it. It's beautiful. It's
in
awesome to see
Altadena,
that.
there's a Christmas tree lane.
Oh yeah, I
Right.
love that. Yeah, yeah. So cool, so cool. Yeah, I
Perfect
mean,
time of the year for that. I
Pine
love that.
trees.
but
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, these things are beautiful for us, and they bring a lot of joy to our lives. However we choose to spend these days, and may they be reflective of the things we value, and also I think that goes without saying that being as safe as we can. Of course, life is full of inevitable risk, but
Mhm.
trying to be as strategic with the risks, is for me an important thing, and is one of the big blessings of being a human. We can think about shit
True
a little
that.
bit more than what we understand of many other animals. Although, was it like stuff from dolphins? Maybe like ravens, I think, are also highly intelligent.
Ravens and crows.
Yeah.
Crows.
They remember you for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Crows have like
Oh.
a 120 word
Wow.
language.
We don't even know where octopuses came from.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Octopi?
yeah, really,
Octopi.
ooh, that reminds you. Just thinking
Cephalopods?
about just like
Yeah.
the like intellectual capability. I stumbled upon this thing on Reddit, and it was to an academic article about, I guess, this study that's sort of right now seeming to reveal connection between autism and related to like gut health, and
Interesting.
and and,
Very
and
interesting.
yeah, yeah, and so depending on that, I guess I that it is a sort of a dynamic that is experienced a lot with families that have family members in the the autism spectrum, right?
Mm.
And that, yeah, like some like gut related thing is also a component of like those experiences, many
Wow.
experiences. And that of course it's all anecdotal, this, and I was reading on Reddit some comments and people were saying, yeah, I feel like I've really have been able to get a strong handle on my my autism. Is that what you call it?
Mhm.
My autism, um by managing how they eat and their diet, and being really intentional
Wow.
about especially like probiotics and things
Sure.
like that,
Yeah.
are helping regulate that. And
I ate
that's
probiotic yogurt in China.
yeah.
Maybe no, I'm just kidding, but like
There's all kinds
Are
of
you
new.
feeling
it helps.
clear?
Yeah, I mean,
It helps. It makes you feel better.
yeah, and it's good. I
Yeah.
think in general for
Yeah.
for so many things, but
Yeah.
Mind and body.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
There's all kinds of new research coming out because mental health in the past has kind of been overlooked, especially in people
Yeah.
of color.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like, and it's like really like stigmatized, like how George said when we talked about it the first time, where it's like for people of color, I feel like I don't know if it's like a cultural thing,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, or what, but like I did notice from my family who's like Mexican and stuff, it doesn't seem like they talk about mental
yeah,
health
yeah.
things as much.
Yeah, yeah, or
You
it's
know?
it's easy to joke about it, kind of get into the
Yeah.
toxic masculine, the machismo or
Yeah,
toxic
the
masculinity,
machismo.
and that's what we call it in like, yeah, for me, Mexican culture, but it's present in so many different cultures,
Yep.
and I think it's, but I will say that from my experience, I think that we're seeing as the new generations are coming, to adulthood, this and that, and going through more, living more life and this and that. There's a bigger acceptance of and appreciation and a willingness to create space for mental health and talking about those things, and
Sure.
it's, yeah, but I think it does take time. I remember one of the last times my dad and I talked. We got into it somehow. Long story short, and we were kind of getting a little heated, and then we started just kind of you know trying to talk about things calmly. There's a little misunderstanding of like intention and what we were trying to do with our conversation, and we reconnected on our love for each other, and that, hey, it's great that we can talk about it like this, and to explore it, and I'm here for it. I kind of would tell him, like, I'm here for it. I'm ready to go
Right.
through with you. And one of the things he told me was like, man, I've held in a lot of things throughout my life, and I just, don't do that. We love you. We're,
Right.
Yeah.
we're we're here for it. So I think that's an important thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Super important. Yeah. So it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort, but
Yeah.
I think we are worth it. Within our families, I think I mean, it's tough for people whose families, maybe they're strange or whatever, challenging, but to have that is very powerful. And then
Right.
also beyond the chosen family, the friends,
Right.
right?
Well, yeah. I mean, then it works with everything. I mean, being able to use your dynamic in in the workplace, you work with, and it's just like, you know, even on the street, you know, you see that people have just lost this ability to like, hey, how you doing? You know? It's
Oh
like
yeah,
there's
for
no-
sure.
There's
Yeah.
no connection
No
there at all.
connection. No.
And we got to get back to that because that also kind of goes hand in hand because human connection is like ever since we were in the caves, that was like it. We've always seek to be a part of a group
Yep,
Yeah.
around the
as
fireplace.
individual as we are, and we have to balance
In
that.
some ways, we're still in the cave.
Yes, it's true. Well, maybe you are, but no.
What are you talking about? I live in a cave.
Yeah.
Haven't trimmed yet.
Yeah, no, hey, God bless you both. I can't do that, so I just shave it, and it's kind of nice too. It's kind of nice to, although I don't know what I'm missing. So
There we
You're
go.
I'm
not
just trying to make
missing-
myself feel better.
Gotta
You're not
keep
missing
warm.
Much. You're not missing much.
Uh,
It itches.
It is just
Yeah.
okay.
Gotta
Yes,
moisturize, man.
Yeah, moisturizer. Yeah. New protein aloe vera. Protein V. I don't know.
I'm a big manly man, and I massage my beard with essential oils every morning.
Yep, those wonders.
Hey, come on. We got to be proponents of that, right? We
That's
got-
what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not being
Sponsorship.
sarcastic. Right.
Place here.
Mhm.
Sponsorship.
He's speaking good faith. We speak in good faith. Yeah, and with all that good faith, friends, I think that this is a good time for us, right, boys,
Yeah.
to bring an end to our episode 5. And we are the Millennial Farts. You are on the MF podcast, and we are Crame, George, Joaquin, Jesse. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. As always, you know, we love any interaction, and you know, whether it's through right now mainly YouTube comments, but we are in the works for getting, you know, our social media game down with, you know, bite-sized clips, and just start that conversation because, you know, you can't just go all in. You know, you can't
Yeah.
you can't say I love you, you know, on the first date. You know,
No,
you gotta
right.
you know, and
Some people do
work
that.
the way.
I guess it works
Yeah.
for them sometimes.
Sometimes, but
Sometimes.
but
Their own.
yeah, teach their own. But you know, there's so much out there. So you know, bite-sized pieces are good. And for those of you that are here for the fatty chunks, thank you, and have a good rest of your night. We'll see you next time.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Ho, 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 ho,
Ho, ho, ho, ho, ho, ho.